Among Us is a fantastic game that easily finds its way into the prolific leaderboard of activities that destroy friendships, along with Mario Party and Monopoly, or at least we think so. In reality, this sudden title of popularity was first published as a smartphone game that pleased fans of both board games and video games. It's just recently got enormous since 2018, so enormous in fact, they only recently cancelled the sequel in favor of new content updates for the original. And, because many players unexpectedly jump in with little to no practice, we thought that providing some tips would be a good idea. We personally suggest the PC players switch their control system to mouse plus keyboard first and foremost. It is much more convenient to switch around with the WASD or arrow keys instead of the mouse, and being able to bring up the sabotage, map, and chat screens with the press of a button makes the game much easier. Switching players can soon learn that both E and spacebar communicate with things, while imposters should know that by simply pressing Q, they can destroy far more smoothly. And, when they're afraid, crewmates can report said body with R instead of spam clicking report. 9. Try out strategies, the stacking strat for example. This is one that we only saw on Twitter recently, and it's quite a genius. Yeah, in Among Us, there are all sorts of techniques that people are pioneering, but the stacking approach is fairly basic and very ingenious. Players can first make their name blank or at least close to their partner in crimes, then all they need to do is stand on top of each other. By this, we say that their characters overlap so precisely that it seems like there is just one of them standing there. Obviously, they're supposed to do this away from everyone else, and if they do what they have to do, they're supposed to wait for the imposter to come and take the bait and kill one of them, and report the body and vote it off once they do. This is only one of many possible starts offered by Among Us, and our advice here is to try and figure out what works best to trick your group of friends. 8. Visual tasks are a 100% crewmate confirmation. In Among Us, there are a number of different tasks for crewmates to perform, but they are typically divided into 3 distinct categories: short, medium, and long. But there is also a fourth identifier called visual, where other players will also see it being done by other players. Note, imposters can claim to be doing tasks, but they can't really do something for real, other than sabotage fixing. So, if you see anyone in medbay body scanning, venting trash in storage, or shooting any asteroids, it's 100% proven to be a crewmate. 7. For players who tend to get scared when they're alone and call an emergency meeting to have everyone meet up again, this is just a fast tip. That's good and all, but what pressing the button really does is cause all the bodies to vanish, giving a scot-free kill or two to the imposters in essence. We realize that this game makes all Space Station 13 style people paranoid, but emergency meetings are a limited resource. Remember, testing everyone's routes and how they line up to where a body is found is one of the biggest ways to find out the imposter. So, if one of those vital bodies fails, it means that whatever they want, the imposters will make up. 6. The best tip we can give for this game is to have a screenshot of the map pulled up on the other screen at all times, while playing for those who have multi-monitor setups. When people are accusing each other left and right, it's extremely nice to have the names of all the places right there in front of you. But, looking up the versions of the maps that draw lines between each of the vents is an even better resource, because when a body is found in security, and someone wants to claim that they were in medbay as an alibi, you'll know that it seems odd, given that there is a vent that goes right between those two areas. 5. In a party that's only on cams 24/7, there's always one player, so that no murder evades their sight. If they don't do any of their jobs, it doesn't matter, they're going to stick on the safety feed at all times. And, as an imposter, it can get very frustrating to get caught killing someone on cams before you memorize where the camera is positioned on each map. But, did you know that when someone is on cams, players can tell? If there's a flashing red light above any of the cameras, it means someone is watching the feed. They're not actually on that particular camera, so it means you may want to be a little more careful about your kills before they get off. 4. This is something that people learn pretty early, but we wanted to add it, so that when they get imposter, new players don't get frazzled immediately, and can experiment a bit without worry. So, yes, the imposters can repair their own sabotages, announce player bodies they've destroyed, and even call emergency meetings. In reality, specifically on Skeld, sabotaging the O2 separates the crew extremely well. But, why would all of these things be done by an imposter? Well, to throw suspicion away, obviously. But if an imposter reports his own killing several times in a group, people begin to question everyone who reports a corpse, and it begins to work to the detriment of the imposter, so be careful. 3. You can report a body without physically seeing it. So, there are only a few acts that cremates can perform at any time. They will conduct duties, call an emergency meeting, and announce dead bodies. But, did you know that you really don't have to be on top of a body in order to report it? Probably, in certain cases, you do not even have to see it at all. You can press it and start accusing individuals as long as the report button lights up. This is not the most useful thing to know, but for some circumstances, it is handy. Say a player gets killed in a side room, one that people rarely walk through. Well, if you're walking through that room and the report button lights up, it's going to warn you there's a corpse somewhere nearby. 2. There are some tasks everyone shares. On any map, it's not like this, but especially on Polis, the main task is a very simple way to suspend the imposter early. Everyone spawns on the dropship when a Polis game begins, and a large portion of the time a player will be tasked with turning the key directly behind them on the ship. If one player has this mission, all the other players also have it, so if 7/8 individuals are huddled around keys and one individual runs off, it's fair to assume they cannot be who they assume they are. 1. It turns out that some of the tasks actually allow players to leave them, and then come back and finish them later. One of these tasks is shooting asteroids. Players can shoot a few, hop off and run when someone enters the room, then come back and shoot the rest until they feel safe again. There are a lot of duties that enable this, but keeping track of the ones you're doing might just help you to live a little longer.